Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Nancy Cox. Thank you for joining us at 6. We're learning more about a Georgetown couple killed in a murder-suicide.
Their toddler daughter was found unharmed with her dead parents. Tonight, close friends of the mother are still trying to wrap their heads around exactly what happened. LEX 18's Lee Searcy has the latest details in tonight's big story at 6.
Friends say 26-year-old Nicole Stenninger was a loving, devoted mother.
She was the kindest person I ever knew. She literally had a pure heart of gold.
Jessica Watkins says she met Nicole through art and their friendship grew. She never thought she'd get a call like this.
Nobody suspected it at all, and we were all just in shock.
Inside these apartments, police say 26-year-old Brent Woods, Nicole's longtime boyfriend and father of her son and daughter, shot and killed Nicole, then turned the gun on himself. Police told us someone inside the apartment alerted their friend that there was a gun inside. That friend called 911, and when police showed up, they heard 3 muffled gunshots. The couple's young daughter found with them, unharmed, covered in her mother's blood, says the coroner.
I broke down and I cried. I couldn't stop crying.
The couple wasn't known to fight, according to Watkins.
He was always kind, he was always inviting, and he's never been a bad guy. It's just they were breaking up and something just happened.
She set up a GoFundMe page to help the children's grandmother take care of them. She wants everyone to know how good Nicole was.
She didn't know anything wrong with bad people. She just saw the good in everybody.
Covering the news in Scott County, Lee Searcy, LEX 18 News.
If you'd like to contribute to the GoFundMe page for Stenninger's children, we have a link to it on our webpage, lex18.com. Freezing temperatures mean a dangerous situation for Lexington's homeless population.
The city's shelters are gearing up to get people off the streets and to safety. LEX 18's Catherine Collins shows us how they'll try to accomplish that.
Cold and rain outside mean a lot of planning inside the Catholic Action Center. For Director Ginny Ramsey.
When the cold comes on this rapidly, our bodies aren't used to it, their bodies aren't used to it.
These storage units are packed with supplies to pass out to people on the streets as the temperatures dip below freezing this weekend.
Give them blankets, coats, whatever they need.
George Withers will be driving the center's compassionate caravan to offer rides to shelters for the homeless. He knows what it's like to be out in the cold because he's been there.
Everybody needs help. See, I needed help. They helped me out, so.
The danger with the first real cold temperatures of the season is that many homeless people aren't prepared. They don't have gloves or coats, and they stop by places like the Salvation Army to get those things.
When it's cold and when it's wet, those are dangerous conditions for people who are sleeping outside.
Major Thomas Heinzman says their shelter is at capacity and they need coats, socks, sheets, and towels.
Many people will be trying to get in from the cold weather, and that means that there's going to be more people in the shelters.
Most importantly, he says their goal is to make sure no one has to sleep outside. Covering the news in Lexington, Catherine Collins, LEX 18 News.
The Compassionate Caravan will run tonight through Sunday from 6:30 to 9:30, and they're asking anyone willing to volunteer with the caravan to show up at the Catholic Action Center no later than 6:30. 4 people have been arrested in Warren County after police say they were keeping a baby in a shed. Warren County deputies responded to a home yesterday on Barron River Road in Bowling Green to help social workers. Deputies say Roger Ramsey and Rhonda Keebler told deputies they lived in the loft and that Nicholas Nichols, Virginia Keebler, and their 3-month-old were just visiting. All 4 were arrested on charges of first-degree criminal abuse, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
The man accused of a machete attack in a cafe on Transylvania University's campus back in April has entered a guilty plea to numerous charges. Mitchell Adkins entered the guilty plea to 10 counts, including second-degree assault, fourth-degree assault, and terroristic threatening. He's expected to face 7.5 years in prison for the crimes when he's sentenced December 4th. The security worker who missed a loaded gun during a search of a student at Frederick Douglass High School in Lexington this week has been fired. That according to a statement from Fayette County Public Schools. School officials say the student checked in after classes began Wednesday and hid the stolen loaded gun for hours inside the school. A district spokesperson says the employee who searched the student did not follow protocol and has been let go.
A Nicholasville man took sheriff's deputies on a 5-mile pursuit this morning.
And police say he's very elusive, and he's the same man who got away following a traffic stop in Boyle County last month. LEX 18's Michael Burke reports from Jessamine County.
You never know what you're going to get out here.
Never has that been more accurate than this morning when Trey Whitten was driving to work.
When I saw him running with guns, I figured it was a big cat or a bear or something.
It was none of the above. Rather, sheriff's deputies were searching for a fugitive by the name of Travis Daly.
Our deputy had a visual on him.
First in Nicholasville and then 5 miles away here on Cave Spring Road in Jessamine County.
Well, obviously, when somebody runs from you and looks at you and runs from you and you're law enforcement, then you know that he's probably wanted.
Daly is a wanted man in 4 different counties on 6 different warrants, one of which stems from last month's chase across Boyle County after police say he was pulled over in a stolen car. It's possible he's armed, but might not really be a threat to anyone.
I wouldn't think so. He's mostly trying to hide and avoid people at this point. I'm sure of it.
Even so, Jim Elliott, who lives just down the road from where Daly was spotted, prefers not to run into him.
You never know about people. Things change, circumstances change. He's certainly something to think about.
We know at least one person who will be thinking about him until he's captured.
And there's no doubt he was in this area. Where, at this point, we don't know.
Covering the news in Jessamine County, Michael Burke, LEX 18 News.
And welcome to Fayette Mall, where we're in the process of waking Santa up. We've been watching ballet dancers. I mean, what's Christmas without a little bit of ballet going on? We've been kind of scooched a little bit here because, truthfully and rightfully so, parents and grandparents kind of get priority for taking pictures of their kids up front. So that's all good. But again, we're going to be waking Santa up here in just a little bit out here at Fayette Mall. I'll tell you, when Santa wakes up, he's going to wake up to some Arctic air. He brought it with him from the North Pole. Let's talk about the temperatures now. This is polar air at the moment. It's cold, but it's not over the top cold. We'll save that for the weekend. Right now we're sitting upper 30s and low 40s. 42 right now in Lexington, 41 London, 42 in Harlan. On the Max Track Live Doppler, we have been tracking a little bit of rain in northern Kentucky. As we check the future track, there's a possibility we could make that a little bit of, little pre-Christmas snow, little pre-Thanksgiving snow. You see the snow coming across Indiana. It's nothing more than a few flurries, so don't worry about getting up at around 3 o'clock in the morning to try and see it, but it's nice to talk about nonetheless. I've got a roll trying to get Santa up here in the next little bit. That'll be coming up, and we'll talk about the cold weekend. From Fayette Mall, where Christmas is getting started, I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Mack.
Thank you, Bill. There's a new warning from Monroe County law enforcement after another mysterious attack killed an animal. That, according to a Nashville TV station. Back in September, an investigation began when 3 miniature horses were killed. Since then, more animals have died. Kentucky Fish and Wildlife officials had looked into the earlier killings of the miniature horses and determined their deaths weren't from a wild animal. But the Monroe County Sheriff disagrees. He sent TV station WTVF this photo of what appears to be a large cat recently spotted on a camera trail. Now the sheriff's warning everyone to keep an eye on their pets, livestock, and small children.
Fire quickly ripped through an old car dealership in Berea today. It happened at Markham's Auto Sales on Walnut Meadow Road around 2 in the morning. When firefighters first arrived, they saw lots of dark smoke coming from the second floor. Then the flames started shooting through the building. Firefighters still don't know what caused it, but it is under investigation. As far as the building goes, firefighters say it was mainly used as storage, but now everything's gone.
The floor of the second story, most of it is collapsed into the first floor. The roof is all gone across the whole structure.
Firefighters say investigators will now be going through trying to figure out what happened.
Senate Majority Leader, Kentucky's Mitch McConnell, has returned from the nation's capital to Kentucky's capital to address the recent effects of the midterm elections at the state and national level.
LEX 18's Eleanor Buckley was there and has our story.
We'll have to come together to try to make some progress for the country.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell admits it wasn't the results his party was hoping for during midterm elections in the House. But that doesn't mean the two parties can't work together in the upcoming cycle.
We're sliding in the suburbs. That's probably a big reason for the loss of the U.S. House. And it is disturbing.
Senator McConnell also addressed the recent resignation of Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
All the cabinet members serve at the pleasure of the president. He's decided to make a change. I think this will be a very interim AG. I expect we'll get a new nominee pretty quickly for the job.
The devastating mass shooting in California was also on the mind of the senator, as in the difficult task our country is faced with in finding a solution to prevent similar tragedies.
But identifying people who are a threat is a real vexing problem. And we see it over and over again, regretfully. And it seems that people who have these horrible inclinations seems to be incentivized by seeing someone else do it.
Covering the news in Frankfurt, Eleanor Buckley, LEX 18 News.
Mitch McConnell says he'll focus on his own re-election in 2020 and Governor Bevin's next year.
After 20 years of searching, two sisters finally meet here in Kentucky for the first time.
We have their story coming up on LEX 18 News at 6.